I've done it. That's where I'm going with. Well, okay. Do you have the team that knows how to do all that building? Because you're going to have to go hire them, or you're going to have to there's a lot of nuance to these decisions. And I'm certainly not a proponent of someone of saying, no, you may not build things, right? Like, no, ever, never, right? But I'm also not the proponent of blindly walk into one of these absolute paths without understanding, like to your exact point, like what is that DNA that is going to start to inform where you build and how you buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is a great, I mean, you almost led me into my question for you, right? But on the previous response, though, I do want to add on to what Jackie said. I also think the DNA of the company, whether they're product versus customer centric, like the way I'm thinking about it now is, it could be a great gauge for us vendors to understand if build versus buy is going to come up in our conversations with them, right? So it's product centric, like the likelihood for them wanting to build it is going to be greater versus them being customer centric. So I love the Patagonia example. But to your point, Liz, I think by default, the assumption though is building is cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel that there are some common misconceptions when it comes to the cost of building versus buying. And the reason I say this is because a lot of the conversations that I've been in, I have seen an emerging pattern of large enterprises usually wanting to build it in-house, more so because they have the resources to do it, right? There are so many internal web applications that their engineers are building. There's just so much for a buy solution to fit over, that the default is, okay, we've got the resources, let's build it, it's going to be cheaper. But to your point, you don't want to be a proponent of anyone blindly just saying, okay, let's build it because it's going to be cheaper. So what would be some misconceptions that our audience, I mean, what would be a myth that you want to bust when it comes to building versus buying?
The first one absolutely is build is cheaper than buy. And here's the thing. I'll just be very honest. On certain things like infrastructure, on certain things like data structure, on certain things that are like, oh, my cloud setup. Yes, it might be. There's no arguing with the numbers. Being able to build that is going to be cheaper than going out and buying it. And you're now seeing, you're seeing massive revenue organizations being run by 20 people because they were able to build everything internally. Right. And so you're like, oh, wow. There's a website called Tiny Teams. You can go and look at how small the team is and how much revenue they're banking. And when you see things that are like $250 million, we have 10 people. You're like, how in the world are you doing that? What in the, and they'll say, well, because we built everything. We're not beholden to all the software licenses, blah, 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 blah. You were 10 engineers that started a company with more knowledge amongst the 10 of you in how to build, where to build, why you go and buy, and put that on top of what you've built. You have more expertise in 5 of the 10 people than a lot of mid-size organizations will ever be able to hire. At 10 people, quite frankly, enterprises would be happy to hire folks with that much skill and expertise. So I think we hear these really amazing stories, and they're absolutely amazing. And AI is making that even more astronomical, because it's like, I've got 10 people who are building, but I just deployed 100 agents to go QA and code and fact check it. And so you're like, yeah, oh my God, I could do that. I could totally do that. I have a team that's building right now. But the thing is, for large enterprises, especially large enterprises who didn't start today, right? Large enterprises who have been in business, you're changing processes, you're managing operations, you are continuously caring and feeding for that infrastructure. Just because you had a team of 100 developers building out your infrastructure doesn't mean that once they built it, like Bob the Builder, they get to go home. They're still in your organization caring and feeding for the for the entity that they built. So to take them off of that, to take them off of the very structure and foundation of the business and say, hey, y'all, you go build me a contact center? Or even worse, hey, everyone, I've heard of a thing called AI. Go build it for me. Like, that is like, it's mind blowing, because as talented and as amazing those builders are, those developers are like insanely smart. Are they smart in the thing that you needed them to build? Are you a healthcare system that now suddenly has to look at billing? Are they a billing expert? Or are they a healthcare expert? Right. And I think that we don't necessarily talk about that when we're talking about the build. But I also think there's a misperception when it comes to buy, because a lot of times people will be like, oh, buy is so easy and I'm never going to have to build anything on it.